Good morning, gamers! Welcome to yet another video. Today's topic will be plugins. I've assembled a list of my favorite plugins on the right, as you can see. I'll just be going over quickly all of them and what they do, what I like about them rather. Yeah, so without further ado, let's just go in order. These are in no particular order besides alphabetical because that's how this list works. Some are more useful than others, but I'll indicate that within the description of the plugin. So first up, we got the world famous 117 HD. As you can see, my game looks pretty good graphically, but if I were to turn this plugin off, it suddenly looks very old, very rigid, kind of jagged. That's also a byproduct of playing in this, I'm playing on a normal 1080p monitor, so it's kind of stretched. If you play on a lower res, it's probably not that bad, but I don't like to play on a tiny screen, so I opt to have this on. Utilize my GPU, make it all nice and modern. So if we go into the settings here, you have a variety of options, like unlock your frames, which is also very good if you're playing on a higher than 60 frame per second monitor. So variety of settings here. It might take some tweaking to fully get them to where you want performance-wise, but pretty cool otherwise. Like just cosmetic things like the you can make your whole game winter themed if you like the snow or autumn, pretty cool stuff. Also changes like the lighting of the game, but I like to put mine on summer mode. And yeah, that is about it for this one. Highly recommend this if you want your game to look pretty spiffy. You might have to mess with some settings here. I'll just go expand these so you see mine. I've had some issues in the past with performance in certain locations, especially Gauntlet. I was getting very, very low frames. This model caching is what you want to probably adjust if you're having any performance problems with this, because this was the fix that I needed to do. So that's 117 HD. Moving on to the next one. So this one is bank tags. Yep, so this on the left here, as you'll see in my bank, there are a variety of icons that I have. So for example, I've set these up to tag my items differently depending on what I use them for. So if I go and click tab herb, first one, this will show me everything that I have tagged as herb in my bank. And basically this is just what I need to do in a farming run with. So I have like all my seeds, I have my teleports, all that good stuff. And the way you do this is, let's say I wanted blood runes for some reason to be associated with my herb. You could either take the blood runes, left click them, and drag them into this. So you see up top left it says tag : herb. What this will do is it'll add the tag to the item, and then as you see here, the blood runes are now tagged with herb, so they'll appear here. Another way to do that is to shift left click, and then you go down to edit tags, and so you'll see all the ones that I currently have it set up for, and you'll just do comma and then like another tag like test or whatever your things are called, and then it will save. But I don't need blood runes when I do herb runs, so I'm going to remove that one. But it's very good. I have a variety of these. I'm sure I should probably have more, especially for like, I have a Toa one, which is very outdated. But yeah, very, very useful plugin. I don't know if there's a limit to this, but I don't believe so. And yeah, it's very, very useful. I think even if you close it, it'll open up as the tag. So if you're like doing an activity like Zulrah, and you need to keep withdrawing a specific amount of supplies, and they're in different tabs, it can help your organization. Highly recommend this one. Use it almost every time I do anything. Oh, this one. So this one's more of a meme plugin. It's not really useful, but when you get you can customize this to get the notification at almost anything. But what it does is it does the C engineer announcer voice. It's like completed whenever you get almost anything. I like this one because then you can like not really pay attention while you're farming like a really AFK drop, and you'll just hear the notification when you're on the side. And also conversely, when you die, it's like dying on my hardcore Iron Man completed, and then it's kind of funny. So it kind of makes the deaths less annoying, and then you also definitely want to reduce this volume from the default 100 to about 10. I'd recommend that before it jump scares you at night. But this is more of a meme one, but still one of the good ones. Okay, and the next one is Clue Scroll. This is highly underrated. What this does, actually it's not underrated at all. So what this does is, let's say you have a clue, you click it, and you get like this insanely ancient text. Unless you know all these by heart, which good for you if you do, but I hella don't. So it'll tell you on the sidebar what the actual solutions to these things are. So it makes it a lot easier to solve clues because these things are very cryptic, and I'm not a fan of going. I'm going to Google them anyway, so I might as well put the solution like on my screen. Very nice for that. Tell you on the minimap like where you actually have to go, which is nice. Like if I were to open this back up again, click on my map, it will give me a little button to click on for like one of the steps. So for one of the steps I gotta go here, and I gotta go there. So it's very cool to see at a glance like where your scroll actually goes if you don't know the map very well. All right, and this is a classic. If you've ever played this game as a kid, I know you wanted that Dragon Scimitar mouse cursor. That's right, it's back. You can now have it. It's not a virus. I swear this is within the game client. It's allowed to be used. But also you can like kind of have a bunch of options. Like I can do my equipped weapon, which is skis. But yeah, this one's more of a meme one as well. But how do I click with the skis? Oh my god. Yeah, sometimes if you have a weapon on that doesn't really have a discernible click pixel, you don't really know where it is. So I don't recommend using this with the custom weapon one because you might not know where your mouse actually is. But anyways, it's there. And up next we have Entity Hider. This one is, as much as I like right-clicking on everybody's names to see what they're doing, sometimes for like either performance purposes or just like immersion things, you don't want to see people anywhere. So for that, you simply toggle it on, and there's a variety of options, yet as you probably have come to notice by now. So you can hide almost anything. What I like to do is I hide anybody that's not like a clan or a friend, and then keep all like stuff relating to me still in the game, like NPCs or my own pet. Very nice. You can even hide yourself if you want to. This is pretty good for like, I think it's good for PvP and probably some bosses if you need to just like focus on the boss itself and you don't really care about seeing your own character. But very good plugin. I use it almost every time I do any like public skilling thing, like especially Wintertodd, Guardians of the Rift, Temperos, like any of those skilling minigame type activities where there's just like hundreds of people on your screen. It definitely improves performance, so you don't have to render hundreds of people. Highly recommend this one for those activities. Ground items. This one is, I believe, default, so pretty self-explanatory. If there's an item on the floor, it will bring up little text to tell you what it is. And depending on the rarity and the value of it, it could like be an orange beam for like a boss drop, or you can tag it yourself by holding Alt and left clicking will make it purple. I think that's customizable as well. Oh my god, I have so many items in my list. Yeah, as you can see, this one has been used the entirety of me playing the game, so I have 1,000 items on there. But you can customize this to a variety of different settings. You know, a highlight could be different. I just highlight purple because it's like the least like likely color to be on my screen, and I know if it's purple, I need to pick it up. And then you can also right click to make it not appear, which will kind of like gray out the text on the display. And also you can, it'll like, yep. So variety of customizable options as well. Very good plugin. All right, up next we have ground markers. This one I probably use a lot more in endgame than anything else, just because of the nature of movement and all that good stuff. So the way this thing works, self-explanatory in the description. Using the shift key, you can mark tiles. So if I hold shift and right click anywhere, I have this secret option to mark a tile. And then it highlights it in the color that I've chosen, which is this whatever pink purple color. And you can customize like the width of it, the opacity, even put them on the mini map for like, you know, visibility purposes. And also if you right click it with shift again, you can now color it to a different color if you have multiple in the same room, or you can label it. So I can label this with literally anything, even 500 million numbers. And this will stay as long as you don't right click and unmark. And what's also cool is you can even do color pick, and you go down to opacity and just remove it to 0, and it will remove the marker, but it keeps the text. So if you want to put like a little reminder on something, then you can always just do that. But I use it for that sometimes, not all the time, mostly for the marking feature. Very good plugin. And another special mention is that you can actually do an import or an export of ground markers. So for certain bosses, if you know that people have markers for it, you can usually get them from a pastebin file. And that's what you just do here is you go import, and it will take your clipboard and put whatever's in there into the ground markers. So using that for raids, other high-end bosses, very nice. Okay, and coming up next, we have key remapping. This one is very good for endgame purposes when you're switching prayer and spellbook and back to inventory, back to pray book, etc. Because it lets you remap anything really. And the main thing I use it for is my F keys. So instead of pressing F1, F2, F3, and F4, as you'll see, this is F1 essentially, which is the weapon. This is inventory on X or F2, prayer on C or F3, and then my spellbook on V or F4. So what that does is let you, have a much lower position on your keyboard, so you don't have to reach literally across every single key to switch between your books. It just makes it a lot easier to do anything, in my opinion, because I never like the F keys. They're too high up, and it just also lets you use WASD for the camera, which I don't think I've ever really used aside from like right this second, but I mean it's there. I usually do. I'm a middle mouse click to drag kind of guy, but to each their own. I highly recommend this one to get comfortable if you can't get used to like the F keys, because they are kind of crazy. And then put them wherever the hell you want. You can even put these on your mouse if you want to. I've just chosen this setup because this is more comfortable for me. All right, and one of the big hitters here, we have menu entry swapper. This thing is quite powerful. It interacts with a lot of different things, as you see here. Items, NPCs, objects, even UI swaps, ground item swaps. So So very, very versatile plugin. It all basically works the same though with shift right click on an object. So as you see here, my left click will wear my shield. See? However, if I do shift right click and then I swap it to something else, so use. Now if I left click, it's using it. This is useful in a variety of things. You can even do drop. Left click drop to do, if you have a bunch of logs and you're not banking the logs or the ore, you can make them simply drop on the ground with one click instead of having to hold shift. Very nice. And then simply, reset. Now you're back to the normal option. And this also works for NPCs, especially for thieving. See, my top option here is attack, but if you shift right click, you can go swap left click to pickpocket, and then all I have to do is click on them to pickpocket them. Makes it very easy. You don't have to like click and then move down a little bit, So makes it a lot more RSI preventing. What else? Oh, in the bank, it kind of has the same feature. Let's say for some reason you only want to deposit one coin at a time, you can make the left click do that instead of whatever your bank option is pressed. I do this personally with like stamina potions that have one dose, because I'm just trying to like withdraw it, drink it. I don't need to do any like drop down drink or anything like that. So variety of uses in the bank, in the world, in your inventory. Very useful. Highly recommend this one. Okay, and this one is also very good for mostly endgame stuff, I would say. I'm going to go find a larger enemy for this one real quick, but this is NPC Indicators. In a nutshell, what it does is just highlights the enemy that you target. So we're going to use unicorns for this this quick example here. Again, it works similarly to all other plugins where you shift and then do something. So in this case, shift right click on the unicorn. And you want to click either tag, which will tag just this one, or tag all, which will be anything in the game with the unicorn NPC ID. And this also has a variety of options, and you can see here I have a ton of highlighted things, mostly bosses. You can draw them on the minimap if you want. You can draw them above. Yep, show respawn timer, all this good stuff. And one of the most valuable things for tagging is you can customize the style. So hull is just like where you can click to interact with it. The tile is like the entire tile that it encompasses. So if you want to like safe spot it, you'll know how it moves and where it can actually go. And then true tile, if I could get to it. True tile is a little bit tricky, but it's where the actual enemy is. See, it's kind of like ahead of its click box. That's just how movement works in this game. And then true and normal southwest tiles. These are used for like chinchampas or ice barrage to multi-hit things. This is like where the enemy hitbox actually is, since enemies only really have a hitbox of one tile. But yeah, that one is very useful, especially if you're learning, like on Gauntlet specifically, where you'll get hit by the melee attack, or on any boss really with a melee component, how close can you actually get to it before you get hit, for things like stepping back or just being ranged playstyle, mage, etc. Very good plugin, highly recommend. Okay, and this one is mostly more or less the same as the NPC indicator, but it's for like banks and stuff. I think if you want to, yeah. So if you want to mark something like a ladder or a bank, you like kind of the same process where you shift right click and choose whatever you want to do. You can set your colors for the actual thing. You can like fill it so it's just the outline of the object. Variety of different options. I don't really use this one very often, since most things you have to click on a lot are pretty obvious, you know, like, or like agility doesn't need you to mark those because it does it for you, that sort of stuff. But it's there if you need to, like, you know where the bank click box is for some reason. And up next we have the quest helper. This one is absolutely invaluable. As you can see here, I do have a quest cape, and the way I did that was quest helper. This thing is absolutely absurd. Example here. So this thing will not only tell you everything about the quest as if you opened it in a web page, it will tell you where to start it as a clickable button on the map with this like big blue arrow, and it will tell you like all the items you need, enemies to defeat, you know, blah 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 blah. You get the picture. And it makes questing not horrible. You know, you only have to focus on one screen instead of a text guide or a video guide. It's so much better. So that one comes default. I would never turn this off in a billion years. It's honestly a hindrance when a new quest comes out and they don't have quest helper yet, but great plugin. And last but not least, we do have the tile indicators. This one's a bit more advanced for learning the movement of your character and where you actually are. I explained this in my Gauntlet video a while back, but what I have this for is the destination tile as well as my true tile. So if you have run on, which you should, you kind of skip a tile every time you move. So as you'll see here, I can click anywhere and I'll just be, my purple box will be moving with a gap in between it. And understanding that is how you can know where your character actually is. If I click way over here, my model is way far behind the actual like damageable instance of my character, which is very important for dodging certain mechanics, making sure your character's in the right spot before, you know, damaging hitboxes come your way. And for that, I like this one and also the destination, because if you click any random place, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be there in a couple of ticks, and you can see exactly where you're going to land instead of just having a guess. Very good plugin. Highly recommend for all bossing content, and it's definitely saved me billions of times in Gauntlet and raids and all that good stuff. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite plugin is or plugins are, or if you have any other questions about these, I'd be happy to answer them. Until next time, peace. I was just about to record this plugin video, and this guy is cosplaying as Solid Snake. Look at this. He's got the crate. How do you get that item? So cool. Look at this guy. He's got the bunny mask, some giant stone, the crab claw. I don't know what that is on his back. Some dark feet. Wow. Truly gotta say, this guy is a fashion expert.